What is up, YouTube? HPJ here, and I'm coming at you guys with another one of the respective duelists who are featured in Speed Duel starter deck, Duelist of Tomorrow. I have already done Mr. Seto Kaiba, so now it's time to rock out with Joey Wheeler, the best friend of the main protagonist of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters series, Mr. Yugimoto. And Joey Wheeler, God, a man of luck himself. Joey is definitely a guy's guy. He is an amazing duelist who definitely has a lot of luck standing on him, and it doesn't matter what corner he's backed in. He will do his best to do what he can to win his duel. And trust me, I think out of all of the duelists that I can honestly say that were in the Battle City Finals, Joey didn't have the money like Kaiba, he didn't have the mystical powers like Yugi, and he wasn't a corrupt soul like Merrick. The thing about Mr. Joey Wheeler is that this guy is a golden pure of heart. And I think that's why a lot of people do relate to Joey, because Joey's pure heart definitely just, strangulates a lot of things for him. Joey's deck, however, that we'll get into, definitely has a weird fixture. It's not based on just red eyes. It also has warrior traits to it. But it also has a lot of gimmicks to itself to where it focuses on things to really make up for things that Joey unfortunately did not have. Because as we all know, when Joey started out the game, Joey's deck was basically full of nothing but monsters. It wasn't until Joey got on the ship with Yugi and went to participate in Duelist Kingdom where his deck did start to evolve the more cards he started to get. Trading with people, picking up cards here and there, and he was able to pick up things like stuff like Salamandra, Kunai Whip Chain, and Baby Dragon, and so on and so forth. Even to the point where even Yugi gave him his Time Wizard to help out Joey in his duels. I think Yugi and Joey's relationship is awesome, and it does fluctuate a lot of stuff in his deck, especially because back in 2020, there were a series of cards that were released to be based off of Joey, the friends and duelists that Joey met along the way. And it was a really cool inclusion to have, too. Because that's when we got my Cyber/Harpie lady. But, for the most part, there was a monster known as Time Wizard of Tomorrow. And it was a reflection off of Joey and Yuki's friendship, which I thought was really cool. So, with that being said, let's take a look at Joey's deck and what Joey has to offer. So, the ultra rare that they gave to cooperate with Joey is Fusion Gate. This card is a field spell that allows you to fuse monsters from your hand or field by banishing them and such summoning a fusion monster from your extra deck. This in a weird way works with Joey because Joey's deck, well, a lot of the pieces do need to fuse. And I thought it was a really cool concept overall just to fit in the fusion summon because of the fact that, for the most part, Joey's monsters on their own are not very strong, but kind of like how he is with his friends, when they combine forces, they become amazing. They become amazing results. And in terms of this, they become amazing creatures. So why don't we take a look at Joey's deck, and just like the others, there's always a list of cards in the back to show off for you. Now, to start off with Joey's deck is probably the one with the most cards because he has a fusion deck attached to it. So starting off are the normal monsters, and they come with one copy of Joey's signature monster. Well, his ace monster, not his signature monster. And that is Red Eyes Black Dragon. Followed by one copy of Meteor Dragon, one copy of Flame Manipulator, one copy of Masaki, the legendary swordsman, one copy of Alligator Sword, one copy of Baby Dragon. So those are all of the normal monsters that are associated with Joey Wheeler. Then we have the effect monsters, which are one copy of Time Wizard, one copy of Little Wingard, one copy of Copycat, and one copy of Gearfree the Iron Knight. Talk about a decent lineup, right? But these are all the cards that are associated with Joey Wheeler and Joey's span. Then we're going to move on into, well, the spells and traps that Joey got. So for the spell cards, we have two copies of Polymerization, followed by one copy of Shogun, one copy of Stray Lamb, one copy of Dice-Foon, one copy of Legendary Sword, and one copy of Graceful Dice. Now, I'm going to go straight into the trap cards because the next trap card up is the polar opposite of that graceful dice, and that is one copy of Skull Dice, one copy of Kunai with Chain, and one copy of Red Eye Spirit. Yes, so that is all the cards here for Joey in terms of the main deck, which is a total of 20 cards, I believe. Now, unlike the other duelists in the series, in these decks, they did give Joey a fusion deck. Well, an extra deck, as it's now called. So the first one up is Flame Swordsman. The second one is Thousand's Dragon. And the last one is Alligator Sword Dragon. Yes, these iconic three monsters are fusion setups for Mr. Joey Wheeler. Then for Joey's skill cards, the first one up is Last Gamble. Oh, isn't Last Gamble? I'm sorry. The first one up is Grit. The second one is Last Gamble, and the last one is Palomerization. I am pronouncing this incorrectly. I'm trying to pronounce it as correctly as I possibly can, but it's supposed to be a play on polymerization. This is the Palomization. There we go. So, that is it for all of the cards in total for Mr. Joey Wheeler. So, while we go ahead and go through them. Starting off, of course, is Red Eyes Black Dragon. The card he won from Rex Raptor in his duel with Raptor in Duelist Kingdom. Red Eyes Black Dragon is a level 7 Dark Attribute Dragon type monster with 2400 attack and 2000 defense. So, this monster itself, according to Kazuka Takahashi, and actually the first ever Yu-Gi-Oh movie, is that while Blue Eyes is supposed to represent the pride, Red Eyes is supposed to represent the courage and the soul. And it is crazy how these two dragons that are supposed to be like the yin and yang definitely have a yin and yang between the two duelists that own them. While this card initially did belong to Rex, once Joey got to it, it basically became Joey's ace monster. And funny enough, Joey has a lot of ace monsters in the series. Once we got to Battle City, he had Esperoba's Jinzo. He had Legendary Fisherman from Mako Tsunami. He did use Insect Queen. He summoned Insect Queen, but he summoned Insect Queen. But I think after Battle City, he took out Insect Queen and Legendary Fisherman. He focused just on Red Eyes. And even had Jinzo pal around for him for a while, because he really did like Jinzo's ability. Which, mind you, Jinzo at that time was such a powerful monster, a free 1 tribute, and then your no trap cards could be activated, that Jinzo was limited for a long period of time. I think up until 2008. Or 2007. Yeah, 2008, when Jinzo got unlimited. Now, in speaking in terms of that awesome Red Eyes monster, tons of support to support Red Eyes, tons of fusions, Exceeds, just the galore. Meteor Black Dragon, an easy to summon dragon type monster, which funny enough, I believe the set after this does give us Meteor Black Dragon, the fusion of Red Eyes and Meteor Dragon. It's got like 3,500 attack, so it's like 300 more. It's basically 300 more attack and defense than Black Skull Dragon, the fusion of Yugi Summon Skull and Red Eyes. When funny enough, Meteor Dragon was actually in Yugi's deck, according to the movie, and Yugi fused these monsters to summon Meteor Black Dragon to take out the chain together Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragons that Kaiba had. Go watch the Yu-Gi-Oh movie, the first ever Yu-Gi-Oh movie, the old one, that was right after Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0. We have the fusion monsters that make up the Flame Swordsman, Flame the Manipulator, and Masaki the Legendary Swordsman. And then we also have, of course, Alligator Sword and Baby Dragon, 2 iconic monsters that are used by Joey Wheeler. Funny enough, if you read the text of the cards themselves, they have a weird wording to them. And the reason for this actually is because it's supposed to be Joey speak, which is like some weird broken Brooklyn accent. Yeah, I know. Strange, ain't it? And that's basically what they tried to piece things on, was that this is a way to show off Joey and be funny about showing off Joey. So they just gave like these weird Brooklyn speaks to a lot of Joey's monsters. I know Baby Dragon, Alligator Sword, Wolf, and a couple of other monsters as well got that whole lineup as well. So go check out like Joey's Speak and Joey's Monsters. I'm sure there's a video on it somewhere. Now, going into the few effect monsters that we have for Mr. Wheeler. The first one up is, of course, Time Wizard. An homage to both the friendship of Joey Wheeler and Yugi Moto. Time Wizard's ability is that you can flip a coin. If you call it right, you destroy all monsters your opponent controls. But if you call it wrong, all your monsters are destroyed, and if you take damage equal to half of the face-up monsters that were destroyed by this card's effect. It is definitely a gamble and has been used by Joey Wheeler multiple times. I believe it's only worked against him once, and that was his duel against Bones. But funny enough, in his duel against Yugi, and I swear everyone says this too, it was kind of a weird counter move that Yugi knew that Joey had Time Wizard in his deck. It was going to eventually use it. And Dark Sage being a counter to that, because of course if the call is made correctly, then you're able to summon the Dark Sage. The Dark Sage has the ability to take any spell card and then activate it from your deck, which is what he did against Joey to use Makiyu to stop Thousand Dragons attack. I know the anime is very weird in Duelist Kingdom, but yeah, iconic monster overall, and has even an upgraded form known as the Time Wizard of Tomorrow. Fun fact, in the OCG, this monster is known as Time Magician, meaning that yes, Time Wizard is actually an associate to the Magician archetype, which of course is played by the Dark Magician. Tiny Wingar, just to be a really good asset of a warrior monster in terms of setting up for Joey in his deck. Copycat, another monster Joey traded for in Duelist Kingdom. This monster's effect is that it copies the attack and defense of a monster on the field. Are these the original attack and defense? Yeah, the original attack of an opponent's monster that they control. So it was funny enough in the anime and in the manga that this monster just copied not only copied monsters, but he could also spells and traps too, like Ryoku. And I also believe Joey had Grave Robber, and I think he used Grave Robber to catch Ryoku. I think, what did he do with Copycat? Probably copied another card or so. But yeah, and then Gearfried the Iron Knight, just another reference to Joey and, this hard exterior that he has. But if you remember in the anime, he did have an upgrade to it by using release restraints and became Gearfried the Great Swordsman. So, yeah, really cool lineup of things here with the classic cards for Mr. Wheeler. Then going into the spell cards. Of course, this is Joey who's fusing, so why not have polymerization accessible for him so he can do a lot of the fusing to get some more of his extra deck monsters that are so iconic. Shogun for his warriors and his beast warrior monsters. The Stray Lambs to just be easy tribute fodder for his red eyes. Dice Typhoon. You roll a 6-sided dice, and depending on the results, you do any of the following effects. If it's 2, 3, or 4, you can destroy a spell or trap on the field. If it's 5, you can destroy up to 2 spells or traps on the field. And if it's 5 or 6, you take the damage. 1 or 6, you take the damage. So either way, you basically use this card as a makeshift MST to try to destroy spells and traps your opponent controls. Hey, if you get the chance to destroy 2 cards, that's even better for you because you get to wipe out back row with ease. The Legendary Sword to power up his warriors, and the Graceful Dice to help power up his monsters with a niche. While we're speaking of the Graceful Dice, we do of course have the trap cards, in which its alternate is the, Skull Dice, which is here to reduce the attack and defense of your opponent's monsters by the results times 100? Equal to 100 times the result. It's funny enough that in the anime they both had different effects. Like if it was 2, Skull Dice would cut it in half, but it would double, triple, all of that. Kunai Whip Chain, another card Joey got in Duelist Kingdom, which has 2 very amazing effects, and you can activate both simultaneously if you wanted to. Equip the monster with this card, and it'll gain 500 attack points. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can target the attacking monster and then changes to defense position, which was a great way to counteract things. The Red Eye Spirit is basically here just to help you special summon Red Eyes. So, yeah, that is all of the cards for the main deck itself. Going into the extra deck, we have, of course, Flame Swordsman in his Flaming Sword of Battle, which is funny enough because a lot of people do associate if Red Eyes wasn't the main focus before, then Flame Swordsman was definitely the focus of Joey's deck, intended to be his boss monster. You also remember that in the anime during Duelist Kingdom, when they became the monsters that their favorite monsters with Bakura's magic of his Millennium Ring, Joey became the Flame Swordsman. And even so, Flame Swordsman at this point in time did get a massive wave of retrains and even support cards. In was it Maze of Millennium, which gave a lot of cards, but most importantly was Bonfire, because that card's definitely being used and abused. Thousands Dragon, the fusion of Time Wizard and Baby Dragon, which also has some upgrades to it, and even an alternate art. And then Alligator Sword Dragon. This is a very random fusion monster that was ever made, but it takes Alligator Sword and Baby Dragon, and you can attack your opponent's life points directly only if there's a face-up monster they control that is the attributes of Earth, Water, or Fire. And I believe this card was summoned before while battling Mako Tsunami, who runs a water attributed deck. So that's pretty much it for all of the fusion monsters. And then we go on into the skill cards. So the first one up is Grit. And if you played Duel Links, Grit was very annoying. Grit's ability is that at the start of your turn, you call two numbers. Then you roll a six-sided dice. If the dice result is correct, your life points cannot be lowered by 100 by 1 point. One life point until the end of your opponent's next turn. The skill can only be used once per duel. They had to limit a lot of things with Grit because people would just use it as a way to counteract things. So, like, once you got Joey, then you started to build various decks that would focus on it. You would use Joey's effective Grit. Then you would win the duel within less than 5 turns and a whole bunch of other things to farm with, which they cut out. But outside of that, it was very annoying in competitive play because Grit would then really, like, annoy the fuck out of people, which is why they had to limit Grit itself in the actual Duel Links. Last Gamble. At the start of your 5th turn, you may activate this skill, counting both players' turns. During your main phase, you can reduce your life, if your life points were reduced to 100, by discarding 2 cards from your hand, you're able to roll a 6-sided dice and then draw equal to the number of the result. This skill can only be used once per duel. This actually just allows you to roll a dice so you can pick up more cards if your life points exactly hit 100. Which, considering with how things are, there's a lot of ways to play around that. Then we have Polymerization. During your turn, you can reveal one normal monster from your hand, and if this turn, you can use that monster as a fusion substitute to fusion summon substitute as any one fusion material. And if you do, the other fusion material must be the correct fusion material. You only use this card's effect once per duel. Basically, just helps you fusion summon. So while focusing on the fusion aspect of Joey's monsters that he does actually have in the deck, this is a lot, like I said, this basically focuses on, Joey being the king of luck. And he really is a king of luck. And I have to say they did definitely do a major aspect of it by focusing on Joey's luck, Joey's cards that focused on how he was as a duelist, going in and out, and even giving some support to that big old red guy right there, the Red Eyes Black Dragon. I have to say this is a good interpretation of a Joey deck. And even funny enough of how well the changes has been, because remember, Joey, Yugi, Kaiba, and Merrick definitely did get... Joey, Yugi, even Merrick. Joey, Yugi, Pegasus, and Kaiba were the reign of 4 duelists that got the first starter decks in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. And they take a lot of aspects of things, too, to build those decks. And the overall things that came with it. So I'm very happy to see such a massive growth. And, I was always wondering why they never did another revamp. But I guess because Joey isn't like Kaiba and Yugi, that's why it never really happened, unfortunately. But to each his own. So, with that said and done, grade A setup for Joey, and I'm really happy that they did give Joey a lot of love in it and put some thought into it as well. So, there's only one more duelist left, and of course, I saved my favorite and the best for last. So with that in turns, let me know what you guys think of Joey's deck, and what are your favorite cards from Mr. Joey Wheeler? Do you like the cards that were given that broken Brooklyn accent, or do you like some of Joey's more strategic setups and cards? Let me know all of that in the comment section below. So with that said and done, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, as it helps me out tremendously. Hit the notification bell so you guys will be informed of when I upload more content to my channel. The social media links are in the description box below. And you guys can check out, of course, the playlist to look at more content from yours truly. With that said and done, thanks everyone for watching. HPJ signing out.